Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond. My name is Sharon Amos. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm honored to serve on your board of directors. Whether you are new to our church, a longtime member, or a member of another UU congregation passing through, or whether you're joining us online, we welcome you. Our church has been gathering in Richmond since long before the Civil War. We have welcomed the stranger, dared to ask bold questions, and tried to bend the arc of justice to this earth. And when we see it move, boy, it's a beautiful thing. We can do that together. And sometimes we don't quite get it right. And in those times when perhaps we cause harm, or perhaps we don't recognize the pain that people we love are feeling, we try to make amends and recommit and try again. We hope that you find something here that touches your mind and your heart. Wherever you may arrive in your faith journey, know that you are welcome here. We thank you for coming. It's your presence here that makes this a sacred space. I have one quick announcement to make. We have recently undergone a required update to our emailing service. And as a result, many of the emails that we send out to you all are landing in spam folders. And so, as a general practice for the next month or so, just check your spam folder periodically and see if our emails are landing there so that you can redirect them and get that addressed. And then hopefully that will clear up quickly. If you are expecting something and you don't receive it, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we're happy to help you figure out what's going on. So again, welcome.
Now you know why you hadn't been receiving my emails. Good morning. I am the Reverend Sherman Z. Logan Jr., and I have the honor of serving this wonderful congregation as the senior minister. What a wonderful and beautiful day for worship, and I'm so happy to see all of you here in the Great Hall, and I welcome those of you who are watching on YouTube, wherever you may be. Joining me this morning as our worship associate is Lynn Edwards. It's okay to clap for Lynn. Jamie Kilpatrick. Our song leaders, Barry and Hyatt. And sharing their musical gifts with us this morning, Beth Tolley and Katie Shavely. Right? You know, I was once told that when you go to heaven, you can't expect angelic voices to meet you when you get there. Well, this morning, I don't have to die to hear the angelic voices because they're here with us this morning. Today, we celebrate all mothers and mother figures in our lives, from grandmothers to aunties, extended family members, all who act as mothers. To those who have stepped into roles in times of needs, your unwavering love and care is truly inspiring. And we also honor all different types of mothers, including birth mothers, foster mothers, adoptive mothers, stepmothers, and used-to-be dad mothers. Your dedication and sacrifice are a beautiful example of selflessness. And let us also take the time to remember those who are grieving the loss of their mothers or have complex grief and send them love. So today we celebrate all communities of mothers and the love that shows no bounds. Happy Mother's Day. You are held in love. So it's a custom here at First UU that we invite our visitors to introduce themselves. So if you are visiting with us today, and as you are comfortable, please raise your hand, and the minister of the mic will come to you. And when she arrives, please stand and tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Roxanne Rucker. I'm relatively new to Richmond. I worship more regularly with Westminster Presbyterian in Washington, D.C., which is where I'm from, but blessed and happy to be here with all of you this morning.
Welcome.
You don't have to.
Front here, Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jerry Evans. Diana here is my stepmother, one of the best stepmother I could ever have asked for. And I came up to visit from Georgia, just visiting. And thank you guys for supporting Kathy and Diana. And that's all.
Welcome. Anyone else, Jamie?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we're glad that you're visiting with us today, and this community is what it is because of your presence. And may this time together be a blessing. So as you're comfortable, please rise and greet our neighbors and welcome our visitors. call to worship this morning are words by Israel Bafade. As we create and share sacred space together, let us reflect upon what brings us here. We have all come here for different reasons, for different decisions, face different challenges, and share different love. And yet, of all our differences, has led us to this place, right here and right now. Some believe we are here for a greater purpose. Others hold fast to a claim, a complete coincidence. Others still lie somewhere in between. There are so many differences and barriers between each individual. It would seem at times as though the odds were stacked against us, becoming one whole as we believe different things, live and experience different things, and value and hate different things. We are the children of God, the children of the earth, or fully grown adults, here as a piece of an ongoing cycle of the universe, the children of the stars. We have different definition and explanation to who, of what, and why we are. Perhaps all are right. Our revelation is not sealed. Despite all that is different, there's one thing that is certainly the same. Somehow, we are all right here, right now. We are growing, challenging, and discovering all here, all together, share the same sacred space we have shared for years, throughout generations, constantly evolving, constantly changing. Let us continue. Let us change and fight together. Let us adapt together. Let us grow together. Let us worship together.
Good morning. Our chalice lighting this morning is Welcoming Multiple Truths by Reverend Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of all multiple truths.
Now please rise in body or in spirit, and let us sing our opening hymn, Break Not the Circle.
Our reading this morning is from a collection edited by Reverend Michelle Collins. It's a story of The Elephant and Blindfolded Friends, a retelling of The Elephant and the Seven Blind Men. In a distant village, there lived 6 friends known for their in adventurous spirits and unquenchable curiosity. One day, a traveler passed through, bringing tales of a magnificent creature, an elephant, a being no one in the village had ever seen. To satisfy their curiosity, the friends decided to experience this wonder firsthand. But to make their encounter more intriguing, they agreed to do it blindfolded, to rely solely on their other senses. As the elephant was brought before them, each friend approached, their hands reaching out in anticipation. The first, upon touching the elephant's sturdy side, declared, "Ah, this creature is like a wall, broad and unyielding." Meanwhile, a second friend found the elephant's tusk. "You are mistaken," he exclaimed. "This creature is hard and sharp like a spear." The confusion grew as each friend encountered different parts of the elephant. The third friend, feeling the trunk, argued, No, it's like a thick snake." The fourth, holding the elephant's ear, disagreed. "It's definitely like a large fan, or perhaps a giant leaf." The fifth, who had stumbled upon the elephant's leg, announced, "All of you are wrong. This is clearly a tree trunk, strong and round." Lastly, the sixth, grasping the tail, laughed at the others. "Oh, you are all fooled. This creature is like a rope, long and thin." The friends bickered, each convinced of their own perception, their voices rising to a cacophony of disagreement. It wasn't until the traveler, amused by their debate, removed their blindfolds and they saw the elephant in its entirety. With their sight restored, they stared in wonder at this magnificent creature, realizing that each of them was right, yet also wrong. The wall, the spear, the snake, the fan, the tree, and the rope were all parts of the same wondrous being. The traveler spoke, his voice laced with wisdom. "You touched the same truth, but from different angles. The elephant is all that you described and more. It teaches us that our individual experiences can be true, but may not represent the whole picture." Chastened and enlightened, the friends learned an invaluable lesson that day. They understood that true understanding requires seeing the whole picture, not just the parts. And so the story of the blindfolded people and the elephant became a tale passed down through generations, a reminder of the richness of perspective and the importance of holistic understanding.
You can come if you'd like. Good morning, everyone. My name is Denise Rhymes, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the chairperson for our Share the Plate committee. This month, our recipient of Share the Plate is Culture Encounters, founded by Amma Gaddy, 2 words, Amma and Gaddy is her last name, who is also the executive director of Culture Encounters. Amma came to us from Ghana in 2002, and she settled in eastern Henrico County with an eye towards fostering cultural curiosity, knowledge, and appreciation, which have been her lifelong passions. What began as a simple effort to empower youth through the arts has evolved into Culture Encounters, a thriving 501c3 organization. Their mission is to ignite cultural curiosity across all ages, creating a community where everyone feels welcome regardless of their background. Maya Angelou once said, "In diversity, there is beauty and strength." At Culture Encounters, they're wholeheartedly involved with this. Diversity isn't just something to celebrate, it's something to actually experience. That's why their programs immerse individuals in the richness of diverse cultures right here in our region. I learned about Culture Encounters last summer when my grandson went to a 3-day program that visited diverse restaurants across the city. He's a very curious eater, will try anything, and he had an absolute blast. So they have these programs for children, again, that are based in arts or in the culture of food. They take programs into schools so that children can learn about different cultures. And in fact, they also have very similar programs, a little bit higher level for adults as well. Our daytimers had an experience with Culture Encounters last month where Amma prepared for them a traditional Ghanaian meal and talked a lot about the culture of the coast of Africa. So as our recipient of Share the Plate this month, I encourage you to donate generously to this wonderful, small but mighty organization that's working to create a better Richmond. Thank you.
Morning, friends. Morning. Okay, we'll see if I'm in tune. Okay. Sometimes I am far
Let us now prepare ourselves for a moment of meditation, contemplation, reflection, and prayer. Sit comfortably in your seats, both feet planted firmly on the ground. Close your eyes as you are comfortable. Breathe in, slowly now. Breathe out. Breathe in, gently now. Breathe out. Listen to your breath. Listen for one another's breath. Now place your hand on your chest. Again, slowly now. Breathe in and breathe out. Some of us hear with our ears the sounds we make, the sounds other makes. Some of us hear with our eyes, watch lips and hands and arms and body movements. Some of us hear with our bodies, feel vibrations in the air and on our skin. Slowly now, breathe in, breathe out. Listen in the many ways you know how. And as we breathe together, some of us on our own, some of us with help, so too we live together. Gently now, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe out, breathe in. Together and apart. We are many and we are one. Breathe in, breathe out. Listen in the many ways you know how, as together we enter into a time of silence. God, our mother, we thank you for grounding your character in the tenderness, protection, and even sorrow of a mother. To know that no human experience, mother or child, is far from you gives us permission to uncover the particularities of how we were made to love and be loved. On this day, we're reminded that we do not begin with ourselves. Our beauty, our pain do not exist in a vacuum, but tether to those who have come before us. We pray for the mothers who have protected us, who are weary, who have stayed, who have left, who are grieving, who are proud, understanding that the story of what it means to be a mother is not singular. And as children, will you remind us that it's okay to lament the ways we have not been loved well, but also celebrating the miracles and mysteries of those who loved us fiercely. We are made of more than us. Help us to behold it. Amen. Ashe. Imagine, if you will, a group of friends blindfolded and tasked with describing an elephant. As they approach this majestic creature, each friend touches a different part of the trunk, the ear and the tail. Each person interprets the elephant differently based on their limited perception. So one of the friends insists the elephant is like a snake. Another declares that it's like a spear. Another decides it is as a sturdy tree trunk, while another insists it's like a giant fan. And consider the elephant itself, a creature of immense complexity. To one person, an elephant may symbolize strength and wisdom. To another, it represents a creature needing protection from poaching and habitat loss. Yet our understanding is incomplete. If we only hear one of these stories, the elephant is both strong and vulnerable, wise in its wisdom to survive. So the parable, which Lynn read, originated in the ancient Indian subcontinent around 500 BCE. Illustrated that we tend to claim absolute faith based on our limited subjective experiences. We often ignore other people's experiences, which may be equally valid. And if we solely rely on one person's account, the book we read, the media we consume, we are missing the holistic truth. Similarly, when we embrace only a single story about a person, community, religion, or culture, leads to fragmented understanding that fails to capture the full complexity of the human experience. So this parable about the elephant and the blindfolded man demonstrates the danger of a single story, a single untrue narrative, and like the proverbial elephant in the room, it looms large. So the idea of the single story originated from Nigerian novelist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. In a TED Talk that she gave in 2009, Adichie shared with her audience while she was growing up in Nigeria, she used to create stories about a culture that she only has seen in books. This culture had blonde-haired American children as the norm, and she felt compelled to write about it. She realized later that this was what she called a single story, a one-dimensional representation of a culture that is incomplete and inaccurate. So this reminds me of a single story that I read in my 4th grade Virginia history book. It was the chapter about slavery entitled Life Among Negroes of Virginia Slavery. And this chapter included statements such as, a strong affection existed between the master and the slave of the majority of Virginia homes, and slaves were contented servants of honorable planters. Now, that is one book that should have been banned back then. And I'm glad that the public schools in Virginia are no longer teaching that enslaved people are happy with those lives on the plantation that had a strong and loving affection for the masters. So imagine me as a 4th grader learning that stuff. But I digress. Getting back to Adichie's story about blonde-haired, blue-eyed American children was a norm. Her perceptions of what Americans looked like, and it was only later in her adult years, as she attended university abroad in the United States, that she was met with the prejudices about the single stories told to her about the people from Africa. And Adichie was assigned a roommate who had grown up in the United States, hearing about people from Africa through anecdotes and sensational news stories. Through the single stories painted in the United States about Africa, her roommate with deep American roots assumed, according to Adichie, that the continent of Africa was a place of beautiful landscape, beautiful animals, and incomprehensible people fighting senseless wars, dying of poverty and AIDS, unable to speak for themselves, and waiting to be saved by some kind of white foreigner. And this was a single narrative that Adichie was met, and this intermingled with her work as a novelist. And her professor urged her to write the single narrative in her novel, not acknowledging the intricate layers of narrative and experiences of people and the story held in the continent of Africa. And in her TED Talk, Adichie speaks of the suffering of Africa in many ways, but she also described African people with wealth, resilience, and strength. And so the Africans she described were not like the Africans I saw on Sunday morning Tarzan movies. So she demonstrated how single stories showed people one thing and they repeat false narrative repeatedly until it understood as fact. But beloveds, there's a danger in a single story. And from the earliest moments of human civilization, storytelling has served as a fundamental means of communication and understanding. And our lives are shaped by stories we tell and stories we are told. They inform our beliefs, shape our identity, and influence our perception of the world. And story can inspire and uplift, but they also have potential to distort and divide. And when we only hear one perspective and expose to only one side of the coin, we risk forming incomplete and biased views of the world around us. And this is the danger of a single story. It limits our understanding and narrows our compassion and closes our eyes to the richness of diversity of the human experience. And while stories have power to inspire, unite, and uplift us, they also have the potential to divide, marginalize, and oppress us. And when we embrace a single story without careful examination, we risk oversimplifying complex relationships and maintaining harmful stereotypes. And this danger becomes particularly pronounced when those in positions of power control the narrative, shaping the collective consciousness and determining who voices are heard and who are silenced. And the power of storytelling, according to Adichie, is the ability not just to tell the story of another person, but make a definitive story of that person. And one of the most immediate consequences of embracing the singular story is continuing misunderstanding and stereotyping. So when reducing individuals to groups to a single narrative, we fail to recognize the fullness of their humanity, overlooking the complexity of their experiences and identity. And this can lead to harmful generalization, biases, and judgment that undermine empathy and sustain division. Now, the single story can also be the difference of perspective and opinions, which doesn't necessarily mean one person is right and the other is wrong. We can all have different perspectives, see the same thing differently, and still be right. For example, some people see life as mostly fair and believe in karma. Others see it unfair and don't believe in karma, while others see it as a blend of both. They see the same thing differently, and they're all right because they judge life as fair or unfair based on their personal experiences and circumstances, which may have been largely fair, fortunate, unfair, or unfortunate, or a mix of both. And the opposite is also true. We can see the same thing in the same way and still be wrong. Let me give you an example. In ancient times, there was a common belief that the earth was flat. By the way, some of these ancient people still exist and still believe the earth is flat. But just because the whole world believed the earth to be flat, it didn't make it true. And it's later turned out that the earth is not flat. It is closer to a sphere. Actually, it's not a perfect sphere, either more of an obsolete spheroid or ellipsoid, but you get the point. But when we rely solely on a single story based on our limited experience and perspective, we risk misunderstanding the complexity of the world around us. And just like the blindfolded person in the proverb that Lynn read earlier, the friends fail to comprehend the entirety of the elephants. So we too can misinterpret situations when we only see them from one angle. And you know, there are many single stories that are pervasive in our society today. Stories that uplift hate, racism, sexism. Stories that facilitate transphobia and homophobia. Stories that divide us across political ideology, socioeconomic status. We hear the danger of a single story about the war in Gaza and the campus protests across the United States. A single narrative that paints one side as the aggressor and the other as the victim, while ignoring the suffering and humanity of all involved. We hear a single story that depicts all protesters who support the people of Israel as people who support the heinous action of Benjamin Netanyahu, and those who support the people of Palestine as people who support the terror of Hamas. A single story that paints all protesters with the same brush, failing to recognize the diversity of opinion and legitimate reason for the protest. We hear a single story that leads to dismissing legitimate concerns about human rights, international law, and the right to a peaceful protest. A single story that could be used to justify harsh responses to protesters, including excessive use of force or legal action against protesters. Yes, my beloveds, there is danger in the single story, and I believe relying on a single story can prevent a more complex, more nuanced view of a situation leading to default assumptions, conclusion, and decisions that may be incomplete or harmful. So it is important to seek out multiple perspectives to gain a fuller understanding of complicated issues. And when we engage with a variety of stories, it can help us advance dialogues and pave the way for a more informed, effective response to conflict. And we all can have our passion and strong belief without someone villainizing those who do not share the same views or opinion. So let me suggest that a healthy discourse and collaboration are essential to bridging divides and fostering mutual understanding and respect. And rather than dismissing opposing viewpoints, as people of faith, we should engage in a respectful dialogue to seek common ground and promote grace. And we should take the time to sincerely talk and listen to each other, even those who disagree with us. And we can build bridges and form connection across seemingly unsurmountable differences. We can agree without being disagreeable. And as one of our UU prophets, Francis David, said, we don't have to think alike to love alike. So how do we confront the elephant in the room? The danger of a singular story that is the silent and looming presence that we often avoid acknowledging. We live in a world where narratives shape our perception, and one-sided tales can lead to prejudice, misunderstanding, and division. But as a people of faith, we are called to challenge these narratives, to seek understanding beyond the surface, and to combat the danger of a single story. So how do we confront the elephant in the room? So let me share a few points. First and foremost, we must cultivate a spirit of curiosity and openness. We must be willing to listen to voices that are different from ours, to interrogate our own biases, and to seek out perspectives that challenge our own assumptions. This means engaging with people from diverse backgrounds, reading literature, viewing art, and consuming media sources that reflect a variety of experiences different from ours. And it also means stepping outside of our comfort zone, outside of our protected bubble, and embracing the discomfort of encountering unfamiliar narratives. Secondly, we must resist the temptation to reduce individuals or groups to a single story. Each person is a complex tapestry of experiences, belief, and identity. And when we box people into a narrow category based on stereotypes or preconception, we reduce people to one-dimensional caricatures, and we rob them of their humanity. So we must strive to see each people as they are and recognize their inherent worth and dignity. And when we expand our worldview and embrace the diversity of stories, we can cultivate understanding and solidarity across our differences. Thirdly, we must be vigilant in examining the stories we tell ourselves and others. We must question the narratives that reinforce harmful stereotypes or perpetuate injustices, and we must seek out the untold story of marginalized voices and amplify them, because much too often, the voices of those on the margin of society are silenced, the stories are erased or distorted by narratives from the dominant culture. So you have attempts from legislators across the country to eliminate courses, ban books, and silence the voices of those who teach true American history, not the sanitized whitewash version. And by centering the voices of those on the margin and acknowledging the systemic injustices they face, we can begin to dismantle the structures of oppression that proliferate a single story. And then we can become agents of change. And by using stories to challenge the status quo and advocate for a more inclusive and just society. And finally, we must remember the power of redemption and reconciliation. Even when we have been complicit in perpetuating a single story or blinded by prejudice or ignorance, there's always opportunity for growth and transformation. So we must be humble enough to acknowledge our biases and shortcomings and courageous enough to seek forgiveness and reconciliation. Because confronting the elephant in the room requires courage, humility, and compassion. But it's only by confronting the dangers of a single story that we can generally embrace the fullness of human experience and build a world where we recognize the divine in all of us. All souls are seen, heard, and valued. And by transcending the confines of a single story, we can form connection based on mutual understanding and respect. So this would require us to listen deeply, speak truthfully, and act compassionately towards all members of the beloved community. And as people of faith, our UU values require us to embrace the complexity, the nuance, and the multitude of our shared experiences that inform our shared humanity. So let us go forth from this place with open hearts and minds, ready to confront the elephant in every room, and be agents of a healing and reconciliation in our world. May this be so.
Wow, that was just absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Our chalice extinguishing is Use Our Inner Lights by Amanda Alice Ululahan. Together, we have enjoyed the warmth and beauty of stories of this flame and of this very special community. As our chalice flame is extinguished this morning, we can still remember that its glow is carried within us. We can use our inner lights and this flame to kindle new sparks throughout our lives and in the world. May the spirit of peace and togetherness bless your lives.
Thank you, Lynn. Now please rise in body or spirit as I give the benediction. And now, as we depart from this place, let us always cherish and appreciate the beauty of diversity and the wisdom it brings to our lives. Let us never limit ourselves to a single story. Instead, let us actively seek out various viewpoints that enhance our understanding. Let us move forward with open hearts and minds, rejoicing in each unique force that add to our collective narrative. May our paths be guided by compassion and our actions reflect the diverse range of human experiences. May we together create a world where every individual is valued and where diverse thoughts are celebrated and welcomed within our community. Go now knowing that you're blessed, and go in peace. And let us sing our closing hymn, 121, We Build a Land.
I'm here.